Hi, and welcome to the Web Development Full Course. This is week 1. Learn HTML basics, headings, paragraphs, and lists for beginners. My name is Bernice Templeman. I have a Bachelor of Science in Web Development that I completed last year. I have a Master of Science in Computer Information Systems and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. The web development courses, some of them are HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Node.js, Express, Angular, MongoDB, REST API, and the mean stack. In HTML, week 1, we'll be building a simple HTML site with some of the HTML, the head, the body, the headings, paragraphs, and lists. The browser and editor that I'll be using is the browser is Google Chrome, and the editor is Visual Studio Code, and I'll provide links to those. And HTML, what is HTML? It's hypertext markup language. Those are the links that I will list. Week 1, I will be putting the code out on my GitHub. I have a repository that'll go along with the YouTube videos, and I'll provide a link to those. So this is the repository YouTube videos. I have a YouTube HTML directory under that, and this is week 1 of the HTML. So it's the index.html that we'll be looking at this week. The structuring content with HTML, MDN, Web Docs. I use this site a lot. It's good to go to. HTML is a technology that defines content and structure of a website. So the CSS, we'll be doing that later. We'll provide the styling for that. So this is just the structure and the content. And then the JavaScript gives it the interactivity for that. Google Chrome, to install that, you can go out to google.com and Chrome, and then there you can download the Chrome browser. And the code.visualstudio.com/download. You can select which operating system you have and install it, follow the instructions to download Visual Studio Code, and they have the documents on how to get started at frequently asked questions, extensions. Once you get it installed, you'll be able to install some extensions, but first you have to install Visual Studio Code, and it's easy to do once you have that. So there's different information out here. I showed you GitHub, and then the other thing, the validator I use is the validator.w3.org, and you can select how you want to use it. You can upload it, or you can, if you have it available on the web, you could use that. Or you can do file upload. This one I just did by direct input and copied and pasted it in there, and then you hit the check button, and then it will check it and let you know if there's anything wrong with it. This is all information messages. So that's always good to use after you've written your code, or if you're having errors with it, may help you locate some of those errors. Then this is Visual Studio Code. And in here, you will, on this side, you can open and close. This one is the file explorer. So you can select file and then open a folder and then go to the folder where you want to, if you've created a folder, or if you go to a location and need to create a folder underneath that, you can click new folder here. If you want to create a new file, you can click new file here. The extensions are on here. Once you get it installed, you can, the Prettier is an extension that I use. And I'll also, in another video, give some additional extensions that I use. There's Prettier, there is, if you right click, I do the show preview, that's an extension. And I also have an open in browser extension that I use because I have those extensions installed. These show up here. So this is the show preview here. So once I click show preview, it's going to show up over here because otherwise it's just, once I bring up the index.html, it's going to show the file, and then I click show preview, and then that's there. And then the prettier I can format the document, and it will do it indent by 2 spaces at different levels. So to make it look nice. So the first line is the tag, the doc type that tells the browser that it is an HTML document, HTML5 document. The first element here is the root element is the HTML tag, and inside that tag, an element has an opening and closing tag. The HTML is going to be the whole entire, all the other elements are going to be within that. So this is it's the opening tag, and then the last tag will be the closing HTML tag there. And then there's inside that you'll have the head section and the body section. So the head is all the metadata that is right here that just tells the browser about the document. The comments are, let's see, these are comments here. It has an opening and closing. You could do one line. This is a comment, or you can do multiple lines. And in the opening, this is the opening of the comment, and this is the closing of the comment. So then now we're going down. So the head section, it has the meta tags that it gives the browser metadata about the document, such as the character set, the name. You could put in the author, you can put in a description, so it'll have both the name is the author, and then the content, you would put your name. You could put in a description and what the site is. The title, this will not show up in the document, but it shows up at the top of the browser page in the little tab at the top there. So you'll see it there. You won't see it inside the document itself on the page itself, but you'll see it up at the top of where the browser is. Then another one that is important to use is this viewport. So this viewport gives it some adjustment for different viewport sizes, so such as a mobile phone or a tablet or a browser. When you make it larger or smaller, it will try to adjust that for it. There is also some additional things you can do to make a responsive website. Then the body, you have the head and then you have the body. And the body is going to contain everything else in this that's on this page. It's going to go from the opening body tag to the closing body tag. And inside you could have other elements inside that. And the first one, this is going to show it 2 different ways. At the beginning, this is the first week that we did in class. And the book we used was, noted it up here. It was Jessica Minnick, a responsive web design with HTML5 and CSS. So that is the book we followed. The first part of this is just using paragraphs to display the content. So you have the paragraph, the title of the page is inside that you're going to see on here. Is right now it's just paragraphs. The P is a paragraph, so you have the opening P tag and the closing tag, and inside that is the content, which is what you see over here. And then there's some additional paragraphs here describing this first document is just describing this first page, index.html is describing what each page is going to be. So there's going to be multiple pages. Right now, we just have the index.html, which is the home page, and it's telling you what that page is going to be about. So it's just for each one of those, it just is listing it out. If you have to make these different paragraphs, because if you took out, even though there's a space in here, you won't see it. If you try to make it all one paragraph, um, if you took out each of the opening and closing tags, instead it just goes all into one. So that's why we're just going to do undo there. I have an autosave on here. But if you don't, you can do a file and a save or do a control S to save it. I have the autosave on, so don't forget to save it. So this is going through the different pages. And then it would be the end of that, would be the end of the original assignment was to just create this with just a bunch of different paragraphs there. Then we had to change it. So in here to set this off, I put a couple lines in, and those are called horizontal rules. These are the HR, which will make a line to set it. And I did the BR is a break, so it makes a additional space. So you have an additional space in there instead of just going to set it off a little bit more with this space and then the line. There is, and here's the line and a space there. So then this is the adjustment. Instead of using the paragraphs for this, I used the H1 heading, and then I just added this in. I changed it from a paragraph to H2 heading. And then, so that is, you only want one H1 heading on a page. You can have multiple H2s, H3, H4. It goes up to H6, H1 to H6, which H1 being the largest heading. Then the headings are a little bit smaller and 6 is the smallest heading that you can use. I know in Word documents, I had to use different headings for different levels. So it's similar to that where you can set up, you have a heading and then you have different levels in the document. Then it's changing it from the paragraphs that we numbered up here. We actually typed in the numbers and all of this. Then here, what we're going to change it to is the ordered list with numbered list items. So the OL is an ordered list, and each list item would get so this is the OL. The ordered list has an opening tag and a closing tag. And within that, there are list items. So for each item, you have an opening tag and a closing list item tag. And it's the OL, the ordered list is going to number it. And so then each one gets the opening and closing list item tags, and then it will automatically number it starting with 1. And so then we have the 6 items. It is now set off, indented some there from up here where it was. And that was the first week of web development.